T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I really enjoy Ladies' Night. How about you? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just had to mute the YouTube side. Hello, everybody. Hi, Teresa.
Hello,
You doing
everybody.
good?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing lovely. Thank you. Busy day.
It was a busy day for me too. I spent it pretty busy. I just found time to sit down here a little while ago.
Yeah, same here. I got some nice cold tea to drink and settled into my chair.
What do you want to talk about tonight?
Well, I think there's a couple of things we could talk about. There's, one topic I think maybe, I'm not sure if everybody's aware of, but do you remember that video? I'm not sure if you'll have it. I can't screen share. But do you remember that video of the call went into the police where that child had been found floating in the swimming pool?
Yes, ma'am. I sure do.
And because honestly, everybody seems to think that the police are bad folks, but they do a lot of good things too. And I don't think that's really shown enough. So I'd like to kind of touch on that and what they did to help that family and that child.
Let me see if I can find a link to the video.
Oh, look at that. Ladies' Night Live. I like that. It's a nice font, too. Hello, Mammy. How are you? Johnny D, Big Joe, Thea, and George Savage. A lot of people feel that way, Big Joe. No worries.
Give me 1 second, Nevaeh. I'm looking for the video. Hang on.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of just set this up while she's looking for the video. What it was this couple have a swimming pool in their yard, and I don't think that the pool was fenced. And if it was, I didn't see that. It might have been fenced on the perimeter, but the pool itself, I don't think was fenced. In any case, what happened was a child had wandered out and ended up in the swimming pool. And then the household, of course, were looking for the child and went out and found the child in the pool floating. And so Teresa is going to find the video, and it goes from there where they called to get some help for the baby. It was, I think, a 3-year-old maybe. And she's got it up here now. I'll just let it play.
Move on. Move.
Please hurry! Please hurry! Oh my God! Please hurry! Oh! Oh my God! Oh my God! No! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! No! No! Oh my God! Please hurry! Yes, they're here! Please hurry! Please hurry! Oh my God!
Follow these voice instructions.
Please!
Oh, she's moving. She's moving.
Please! Oh, Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ!
Did you get a pulse? Huh? Did you get any
Please.
pulse?
Please!
I think I got a pulse. I think I got a pulse.
Okay.
Get her on her side.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
She's moving. Tell them we got a pulse.
185. We got a pulse.
Come on.
Please, God!
Hey guys, can y'all do me a favor? Whenever EMS comes out, can y'all wave them in here?
Yeah. Watch for EMS. Lawrence, please. I got.
Get up here,
Okay,
PJ.
baby. Okay.
Okay. Breathe for me. Breathe for me. Come on, baby.
Okay. You want to clear anything out of her mouth? Hold on. Let me get my glove on.
Here, do me a favor. Just can you go over there with her, please? Come on, baby. There you go. Come on. Spit it up. Come on. Come on, baby. Stay with me. Come on. Come on.
Okay.
There you go. Come
Okay,
on, breathe.
good girl.
Come on, baby.
Yeah, she's
Shallow.
semi-conscious.
Okay, good,
We got a pulse.
good.
Come on.
I'm
Come on,
trying to do a
sweetheart.
finger sweep.
Come on, sweetheart.
I don't got anything in her mouth.
Come on. There you go. Come on.
Okay, good. She is breathing.
Yeah. Come on. Come on, sugar. You're okay.
Still got a pulse.
Hey, just make sure we keep this road clear for those EMTs to get in.
Come on.
We got it. She's breathing.
Yeah, I don't have any kids. Huh?
Yeah. It's strong. It's
Yeah.
slowly
Come on.
coming back. Yeah. She was definitely blue when we got here. Still see her fingers.
Mhm.
As far as I could tell, I tried to do a
Come
finger
on.
sweep multiple times.
I'm not getting anything. Just there we go.
Hey, there you go.
There we
There
go.
you
Come
go.
on.
Good girl. Good girl. She does.
Come on, baby.
Just sit tight.
Any other
She does.
patrol unit not on scene, stay tonight. 10-4.
There we go.
Good girl.
Come on.
Still good.
Oh, no, I'm still
Got a
heading
pulse.
away.
It's strong. The pulse is strong.
Thank you.
You're getting
Okay,
better.
Good.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah,
It's
it
really
is.
hard to watch.
Most definitely. So, a lot of times in the genre in which we sit, most of the people are interested in 1A, and there are many people out there making, okay, be real, but this isn't about Josh. There's a lot of people out there making the police look all bad. And in this video, we see that they are actually the heroes and that they rushed in to help save this child. So I just wanted to point out that our law enforcement do more than arrest people.
This is a really compelling video, and I think a lot of times people maybe don't realize how stressful a situation like that can be, because you notice that the child's mother wasn't able to help her. Apparently, she didn't know CPR, or maybe she was in too much of a panic to do anything, but she had to wait for those cops to get there. That's kind of hard to watch, to have to depend on someone else, to depend on the police to get there to help your kid. That was hard.
What about you, Peachy? What do you think?
I came in a few minutes late. This is kind of near and dear to my heart because I've taught so much swim lessons. I have my water safety instructor license through the American Red Cross. And it breaks my heart. I guess she was okay. Like I said, I came in late.
Yeah, Peachy, she was breathing and she had a good pulse when the video ended.
As summer's here, there's a lot of fatalities around the water. And I left one comment with this young gentleman, young boy, 15, I think, who drowned trying to save a it's a little girl, like maybe a 5-year-old. And in the we teach from the American Red Cross: reach, reach or throw, don't go. And if you're not trained in the water. So reach out with your hand, reach with a noodle, throw something maybe that floats, throw a rope, throw, don't go. Uh, these men were heroes.
Well, yeah, they don't hesitate, and that's one of the things, I guess, whenever you need their training to kick in. And I had an incident just the other day at my father's house. He had hit the panic button, and my dad has a pretty secure house with an alarm system on it and the big bars across the door, and I couldn't get in. I didn't have a key, and I had to break out a window. But I called the police first. I called 911 first. They of course transferred me to the police, but I sat there waiting for him, thinking I can break out the window just as well as they can. I just you just never know what you're going to do, and you're faced with a situation like that.
I was just talking to my mom about that same thing a few nights ago, and she lives with my brother, and he's in a really big house, and she's upstairs. Well, all the bedrooms are upstairs, and my brother's gone quite a lot, and my mom, she's not well. She's not all that healthy, and she's 75. We were talking about that, and I said, "Mom, you've got to get a key. Even if you call 911, you're not going to be able to get in the house if my brother's gone. Got to put a key somewhere outside." When she lived in Florida, she had a keypad, and she could give the code for the people to get in. Um, so
Yeah, I think that's one of the things about police officers that maybe we overlook a lot of times. And I'm not saying that all police officers are great. I'm not saying that every one of them is one that you'd want on the scene of an incident like the one with this child. But whenever you're in a panic and they're trained, it's always nice to have somebody. I mean, just like me the other day with the breaking the window, I got in the house and found him, and the police finally came, and with the fire department and some other people, and can't tell you how glad I was to see him.
was he okay?
Yeah, he was fine. He had fallen, and we got him up and stuff. But yeah, it was, I mean, if something bad had happened, I thought, gosh, if he's just laying there in a pool of blood or something, and I'm
Yeah.
standing out here waiting, forget that. I'm breaking the window.
Well, that's why it's so important, that to know first aid and to be up. Matter of fact, I need to get updated on my CPR and my CPR for first aid and safety. That's why, especially if you have children, it may be too late before the paramedics or police get there to know the Heimlich maneuver and CPR.
I can't imagine owning a pool and not having some sort of training, and I just can't imagine. I wouldn't have one in my backyard. I'd fill it in with dirt.
We my ex and I take a quick story along the lines of this little girl. My ex and I we're living in Macon, Georgia, and we went out Friday or Saturday night. I think Saturday night. Went to a restaurant that was on a big lake, and it had the dock down below, and the boats pull up and whatnot, and they had live music, but there's a long walk down with these stairs, and it was dark to get down to the dock. But we heard a lot of commotion going on. It's getting towards the end of closing time, which was pretty early, about 11, I think, that night. And a family, they were looking for, I think the dad was looking for his son. And I've told this story, but anyway, they didn't know if he couldn't find his son, and I think his sister was there. They had quite a bit of a family there, and oh my god, I just remember it just like last night. And they didn't know if somebody took the child, if the child fell in the water. It was just a big great debate. Everybody was up in arms, everybody's looking, called the police in. And I ended up getting in the water. My ex went to his car to get a waterproof flashlight, and I took off a piece of clothing, jumped in the water, And I spent probably 2 or 3 hours until the dive team got there and they made me get out. But it was only me and somebody else looking. I knew that child had fallen in. I just knew, and he was autistic, and I think he was maybe 5 or 6, and I just knew he was in the water. And I looked and I looked and I looked, and I swam under boats. And
Anytime there's a child involved in a situation like this, it's very difficult for people, whether or not they have children, you have any human compassion, you're gonna feel something. So the point I was trying to make initially with this video and this story was the fact that we have uh, people that are on our public servant workforce that are dependent on a lot of times just in situations like this to save the day when either the parents or whoever's caring for children come across a situation and they're not exactly sure how to deal with it. It's always good to have somebody with training come in and give aid to that situation. In this particular case, that's what happened. It saved the child, thank goodness. And I'm sure there's a lot more situations that could be brought out that show where our police force actually does do good in our communities. I know in mine, we don't really hear too much about there being a problem with our particular law enforcement, but I'm not going to say that that's the case across the nation. However, I have seen situations where they have come to the aid of many and been beneficial when called to give aid in that fashion. So I think we should give them kudos as much as we do criticize the bad ones. And that's what I'd like to see more of because there is a lot of good ones out there and they should be getting credit for it. Hey, Morgie,
Oh,
how?
yeah, welcome to the panel, Morgie. I absolutely agree. When I first got involved with this police accountability movement, I had my own issues in disliking the police for, an issue that I had with them, but at the end of the day, I know personally because I've looked into a lot of police departments, there are good cops out there. There are cops that will share information with you, that will lead you in the right direction, that'll tell you exactly the documents you need to request, things like that. And I've had that happen to me I've been involved in this for 8 years, and I've had that happen before, over and over again. So I know that there's some really good cops out there, and I've seen some that this department even here has hired right on as little rookies, and police officers that are doing really well, doing really good work with the community and that sort of thing. So there are good cops out there, and those are the ones you really want to show up on these kind of emergency situations.
And there were a lot of cops that showed up that they just did an excellent job. They secured the area. The incident I was talking about, they just did an excellent job. They ended up finding this little boy the next morning when it was really early in the morning. I think we ended up leaving about 4 in the morning, and we got a call, and they had a police officer call me, and they just did an excellent job. And unfortunately, that did not end well. But they were very professional. Brought in a dive team, and everyone was just fantastic.
Yeah, I think people forget that there's that human side of cops too. And I mean, you think back to national emergencies like Hurricane Katrina, where they're in boats and they've got to go, and there was a lot of volunteers involved in that as well. Don't get me wrong, but it was the police that were going through the houses, making sure there weren't people still in them, or recovering the bodies and things like that. I mean, these are the kind of things that people forget that the cops do. These are the ones that help somebody on the street who's in distress, or that they don't see. There's a lot they don't see, and a lot of the frauditors are just hell bent on their own little revenge for whatever it was they've never taken responsibility for.
You know,
Um,
I'm sorry, Morgie. It made me think too that the more I watch, the more I see, the more videos I see, it really makes me want to get more involved in like search, fire, and rescue. I mean, get involved where I can make a difference. So I think to myself, well, how many people in this YouTube in this movement, how many people uh, how many people are thinking that they want to become a cop to make a difference? So if you're seeing a lot of negativity and you're seeing a lot of uh, cops not doing their job, then maybe why not get into government work like that and make a difference?
I mean, you could even get into volunteers. There's a lot of police forces that have
Exactly.
volunteer services as well,
Exactly.
or rescue. We have a thing here called the SES, which is like an emergency services, but it's all civilians, and the CFA, which is the Civilian Firefighters Association. All those fires that you saw that we had earlier in the year, a large amount of those were all citizen firefighters, and they're all volunteers from the community. All you have to do is go and have a look and join up and see what you can help. And the other thing is that gives you an idea of what these people go through. If you're manning the front counter of a police station one night, and you watch, and you've heard the calls, you know what's going on out there, and you watch the faces and the body language of the officers as they come in if something really horrible has happened, and you could make a difference even to that officer's day by just being nice. That alone could take out a lot of the jadedness that comes with policing.
Well, my attitude has changed a lot since I've started this. A lot. From my first video to where I am now. The more that I film, I think that my attitude changes even more. I mean, doing all my work in Atlanta, I thought the SWAT teams and the National Guard, I thought they did an excellent job for the most part. They did a really good job. But I just find that more that I'm out there and I'm filming and I'm seeing what's going on, I just have a softer side for uh, my bitterness. Well, and maybe my bitterness was just due to watching a lot of these, too many of these negative videos, and you just get angry, and you can't go out and film angry. You just can't. You can't.
And there you go. You make a really good point, because you're only seeing one side, and the side that certain people want you to see.
I mean, there's a lot of bad people in the world, including teachers, including cops, including other people in different walks of life. There's bad people everywhere. Yeah, do we need a big change in policing? Do we need some big changes? Yes, but I'm not saying that we don't. We absolutely do.
You wanted to say something, Teresa?
Well, I was going to say that going out and filming angry is that's a good point, and that's something that I notice, and something that I really like about the way that Pink Camera Magic does her thing, and the way that Laura Sharp does her thing. They're not really angry. They're just out there doing their thing. You know what I mean? They're not yelling at
Yeah.
anybody or cursing at anybody, or they're just there to observe. And I think that's kind of I think that's the most important thing to do. That's what you're there for, is to observe.
I try to respect everyone's ways of doing this. I try to, and I'm just getting to the point where I'm just unplugging, I'm unsubbing, and I know that everybody does it differently. And if I can't be respectful to people, then I just need to unplug, and that's where I am at this point. I'm so sick of the drama. If I don't like it, then I don't have to watch it, and that's what I'm trying to. I'm trying to mimic that
Well,
attitude.
if there was some sort of balance being presented instead of just a one-sided narrative, then I could get on board with it a lot easier. But that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a very unbalanced presentation of behaviors of police. And if you go out and you video police and you see a good interaction and you see a good outcome, then by golly, that should get posted just as quick as the ones that you don't see that outcome with. Because then you're presenting it with a balance and it's unbiased. If you're only presenting it from one side, you're presenting it with a bias. Hello, Betty. So that was my whole point. Is we're really not giving enough credit where it's due, and we're trying to take away from that good by over presenting what we see as bad behavior. And like Peachy said, there's good and bad everywhere. And so I think that it's just on us as well. I won't say us because I don't do it, but it is on some of those who are out doing videography, who are out doing auditing, who are out doing, I don't know what that noise is. Peachy, your feedback.
That might be the
I'm
crickets.
getting feedback from you. No, I'm getting feedback out of your. Anyway, in any case, so my whole point was give a balanced presentation of what we're looking at here. Don't go out there and intentionally just look for bad things to give back to your audience. Look for the good things to give back to your audience, because I think that's the fair way to do it. Go ahead, Morgie.
Sorry, I was just going to say, or even intent to incite it, because that by inciting it, you're giving the wrong impression as well. And in fact, if the cops were as bad as a lot of these blokes go out to try and make them, there'd be a lot of them would actually be dead, because they would have been shot if they were as bad as they make them out to be, or they'd be behind bars for a lot longer. And the ones we have seen behind bars are the ones who basically have warrants for other crimes. It's not really to do with filming, that they've crossed the line and gone too far with it. I don't think the cop, from what I've seen, the majority of the cops don't have a problem with you filming. They have a problem when you interfere with what they're doing. And I mean, they know they're on film. They've got dash cam cameras that basically film everything they're doing while they're at work. They've got body cams now. So everything they do is online. So you standing there with a video camera is not going to change that. There's cameras on them all the time. They're not. I don't think they're that fussed about them, to be honest. It's when
Morgie,
they.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I don't think that all the police officers have body cams here in the United States.
That you would be right. Not all departments have body cams in place with their departments. Our department only got ours last, when was it? Last December? Was it last December? No, it was the December for this past is when they got cameras on our police force. And so it's just been a year and a half that they've had them. And I can't imagine what it was like for both sides of the coin here when they didn't have them, when it comes down to proving right and wrong, or good and bad. And so it's beneficial, yes, for them to have them. Do they all have them? No. Should they? Yes, they should.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have said the majority of police now have them. I do apologise, because a lot of that also has to do with budget restraints in smaller towns and counties as well. So I do apologise for that. I should have made that a bit more broader.
That's okay. No worries. So is anybody else got anything else to say on this topic before we go on to the next one?
No, I'm cool. I think we've pretty much covered it.
Okay, so the other topic, which might be extensive, we were going to probably do some talking about online relationships, the good, the bad, and the ugly. How that might affect the people involved or the people around them. So let me start this off. How do I want to start this off? Okay. You meet somebody online. You kind of think you like them, but you don't really know them, right? And you get involved in a situation to where there might be a little bit of flirtation going on, or a little bit of reciprocal, uh, uh, what do I want to call it? Reciprocal affection. Now, keeping in mind with that, that is not always necessarily sincere. And so that's where I want to kind of take this, is where it turns into something that's really bad, but nobody's actually saying anything about it. Next speaker.
Do you mean that like online in like chat rooms and things like that, where everybody can see what's kind of going on, not what's going on in the background as well?
Exactly. Yes. That are the two people that are, when you have an audience. We'll just give YouTube as an example. In live streams, there's an audience. In live streams, there's a lot of pressure at times, and during that, regardless of who's getting the pressure, whoever's giving the pressure on whomever is receiving it, it can actually be a detrimental thing. You have a live audience watching everything. You feel like you need to make some sort of impression based upon those who are around you at the time. And do you want to actually play into that role, or do you want to take your time and see what the reality of it is before you make a decision? And so there are situations like that that are pretty evident in YouTube, in all genres, in our genre and in others. So it's something that I think is worth kind of looking at and speaking on.
Well, there's a lot of issues with, I guess, online dating and online relationships, because it's a kind of a virtual thing. You have to sort of trust that the person on the other side is being honest with you, and that you know who that person is. Anybody can be anybody they want to be on the internet. So there's some dangers, obviously, to meeting people online, etc. And that would, especially hold true for, like, children, younger adults, maybe, or people that might not be, mentally capable, even at an older age, of, you know, understanding that sort of thing. If that makes any sense.
And you also have a lot of people who are lonely too, who are just looking for some kind of companionship, and whether they or not they find it online, and they start talking to somebody and they start making it into something that it's actually not. It's very difficult. I think it's very difficult to um, because you don't have the interaction. You're not getting the full emotions, as Teresa said. You can be anybody you want to be on the internet, so you can play games if you want to. So it's very difficult to, when you haven't got that face to face, you can't see the emotions, where you can't tell exactly by the voice and stuff like that exactly what's going on, and it's very easy to misconstrue somebody's intentions. I think. I don't know if that's what you guys think, but I think that there's that factor to it as well.
Well, because it can be all kind of superficial, can't it? It's not necessarily real. And as I was saying before, when you have an audience giving peer pressure, one or the other of the parties may be influenced by that and not really taking on the reality of the situation, or seeing it for something that it isn't. So then what would you say to the other people who are the audience getting involved in giving that peer pressure and causing the situation to be seen as something that it's not, encouraging it to continue even though it's not real, and then not even considering the person or persons involved in this so-called relationship, what the damage could be to them in a long-term sort of situation.
People aren't going to give a shit, in my opinion. Trolls are going to be trolls. People are going to be mean, and I just we can talk about it, and people just need to. People are lonely, are very lonely, but people, women and men, just have to be very, very careful if you're getting involved in that to about giving out personal information or FaceTiming or Skyping. Um, but as far as people live streaming and people in the chat, uh, it's my opinion that people aren't going to stop being mean.
And that brings up oh, sorry.
That's okay.
No,
Go ahead, Morgie.
I was just going to say that brings up a good point too. I mean, if dating sites are not safe, imagine what happens when you walk into as we know, certain streams that we know have a large amount of predators in there. So if you're doing this on a stream, like a live stream, kind of like we're doing, you open yourself up to a lot more. What do you call it? You open yourself up a lot more to abuse and being manipulated than maybe you would even on a closed. So basically, what you would call a secure sort of dating app or something like that. I don't know if you think that, but that's kind of how I look at it.
My point too is who do we really know? I mean, there's family members that have turned on us, on me. There's I mean, who do we really know in general? We don't. It's within our family and our inner circle, but my goodness, it's much more when you meet somebody online. It's scary.
It is, and also, sorry, Teresa, did you want to say something?
No, I'm sorry. I just said hi to DDT. Go ahead.
Hey, DDT. What if it's not real, and most of the people know it's not real, but they still keep trying to reel the person in who thinks it's real into believing that it is, and you go X amount of time with still not having any information about this other person that there's feelings for, not having any real reciprocation from this other person that there's feelings for, but still believing that there's something there and still being led to believe that there's something there and nobody's setting it right. Now that situation to me,
nice.
wait a minute, PG.
I'm sorry.
That situation to me is something that's like basically playing on a weaker person who might not have the wherewithal to make that determination on their own, but believes so strongly on their feelings that they're allowing themselves to be led down a path of imminent accident. I'm going to call it an accident. It's an imminent accident. It's an accident waiting to happen. You're going down this rose path and not being told that there's thorns there, basically. You're being led to believe that it's all safe and you're not going to get scratched up. Go ahead, PG.
No, it's just not very nice with the person that's not being honest and forthright. The person seems to me to have some serious communication issues, maybe a little bit of a coward. And then the person that's kind of in la la land, I think this person's a little bit smarter than, and I think we're talking about a situation where we're not saying names, but I think we all know who we're kind of talking about, right?
Yeah, but we're going to leave the names out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that we're not giving the person that's kind of in la la land enough credit, though, as well.
Well, that's one of the things. Yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to say as well, because we don't want to exclude anyone, from participating in this genre, and I don't think that I don't know that anyone is suggesting that we want to exclude anyone, but I don't know. The whole situation, it sort of rubs me the wrong way because I just feel like she's being misled, and that I don't know that maybe she doesn't. And I don't want to talk about somebody that's not here in that way because, like I said, I wouldn't want to exclude anyone. But, I want to have her best interests at heart. But this is a tough group of people, and when you get involved with them, and I've known other people um, like that have gotten involved in this group, and it's very difficult because you don't want to exclude them, but then you've got all these people out there that just want to manipulate things, and that can be very difficult for someone, maybe everyone to understand, because YouTube is a lot of show and fluff and make believe, and I don't know that everybody really understands that.
You're absolutely right, Teresa. And I can honestly say that I am very sure that there are several people who have a sincere concern about this situation and probably have actually reached out uh, and tried to give some light to it, but there's some resistance there. However, the onus would be on the one who is the recipient of the affection who's not being honest. And that person, I would say, is a coward. I'm just going to put it plain. That's my feeling. There isn't a whole lot that any of us can say or do that would alleviate this, except for that person. It's going to be a harsh reality when the reality hits home. And I would just hope that for in as much as this person is being used this way, and made, there's a word I'm looking for that I'm not going to find right now, but I do believe that this person is being used for some amusement. I think it's a very mean thing to do that to somebody who might not have, say, the same level of understanding as others. And it doesn't matter if a person is lonely or not. I think when that becomes evident and people prey on it and use it against a person that has those feelings of loneliness or a need to have someone to talk to or express themselves with, when that's used as a prey tool, it goes like 100% in a bad direction for me.
Morgie, do you have anything you want to add? I think I might have cut you off earlier. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, I'm just thinking how morally bankrupt a large amount of these people are to actually allow that to happen in the first place. Knowing what the situation is. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's the issue too, is that, you wouldn't bring your children around these people, So that's where you get into a sticky situation with this, you wouldn't bring your children around them because they just don't have the mental capacity maybe to understand what's freaking going on, So that's where, we kind of sit with this, is that, maybe she just doesn't understand what's going on. And I would hate to think that.
And especially when you've seen the behavior towards other females that have gone into that area, shall we say, and how they've been treated. If you haven't picked up on that, then there really is a serious problem. And I don't know, I don't know why a lot of those women still keep going back there after the way they've been treated. But it shows a level of misogyny, and it's a boys' club. It's the level of misogyny that's actually within that genre. of person, of what they call community, because it's not, they're not showing respect to everybody. They don't even show respect to each other, to be perfectly honest. So if they're not going to show respect to each other, they're not going to show respect to a woman, and we've seen how they've done that before. So,
As a matter of fact, they're very prevalent in their disrespect for women, and it's very evident to see. Um, Unfortunately, right now, with this particular situation that we're discussing, and which could be happening elsewhere, like I said, it happens all across any social media platform. We might not always see it in groups that we don't frequent, but it does occur. And Morgie, you're right. The fact that it's bleeding over outside that group that incited it to begin with, that came up with the scheme for this to be for this to occur. It was actually a scheme, because there were already sort of an infatuation was already there to begin with. And then they just used that to blow the whole thing into oblivion. And still the person that is the object of this game is oblivious to what's really going on. And yes, it has bled over, like I said, outside the original group, only because of the beliefs that are allowed to continue in this person's mind and emotions. I gotta say, if the emotions were taken out of it, it might be actually not occurring. But since there are emotions involved, it's become a big manipulation game, and it's not just misogyny, but it's it's like a huge bolstering of the narcissists that are involved in it. It's boosting their ego. Look what I am able to do. Look how I am able to manipulate. And yeah, that to me is sick. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's sick entertainment for their own pleasures. I'm sick of all of it. To be honest with you, I'm
I mean,
embarrassed. DDT said something in the chat. I was reading some chat. He said he would bring his bosses around, but he's too embarrassed. I don't know if he was serious about that or just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I think of my mom and my dad and some of my family members being in some of these chat rooms and seeing what's going on, and I'm kind of embarrassed about it. So, but you know what? It's her journey, though. I think that it's her journey, and I know that that other people and I try to protect her, but also at the same time, it's her journey.
hi
yeah,
everyone. Okay, so it's
Hi,
her
Dulcie.
journey. It's her journey. Okay, who's going to put the pillows down when she falls? It's not going to be the people that set her up for it.
We all fall.
Well, I
We all
get it.
fall.
Well, we have to make sure that we're considering all the aspects of the situation here. Okay, and so if she falters in this, if she gets her heart broke because this thing was allowed to go on without the truth being told, about the situation and the reality of it, and she has an emotional breakdown, who are we going to blame that on? Because nobody's going to be there to catch her in that.
Yeah, she'll dust herself off and move forward. That's what makes
You
people
think?
stronger. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're not giving her enough credit. I really do. I mean, I've taught a lot of kids. She's not a kid. We've taught a lot of kids, young adults with mental disabilities, physical disabilities, and they're tough. They're tough as nails. I had to learn that the hard way. I wasn't giving them enough credit, and as I've gone through my journey, I've learned to do just like Becca. Becca's tough as nails, and I wasn't giving her. A lot of people weren't giving her enough credit and I'm talking. Um, but I don't think we were giving her enough credit.
I don't know that they, that they are giving her enough credit, than, to sit, sort of sit down and explain things or whatever needs to be done. If you know what I mean. I don't know that they're giving her enough credit, and it has been hard to watch Nevaeh. It has been hard to watch her breakdown on video, and that is difficult to watch. But I do agree with Peachy. She's going to land on her feet. I just don't like to see it drug out or her manipulated that
But
way.
we all have been manipulated and screamed at and been called the C word. And I know we all have on this panel. I know we all have. And when I first started
Right.
this, I would cry. I would cry like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that to me. And, but I had to, eventually I learned, and eventually I started unsubbing people and things like that. But I didn't understand this whole thing when I first stepped in. I didn't, and I've cried many nights, and it, I think my audio is bad. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to mute.
It is kind of chopping up a little bit, but for me, I particularly didn't care about the name calling. It was what was when the threshold was crossed of unacceptable was what bothered me. The name calling never bothered me. The teasing never bothered me. That wasn't anything that bothered me. It was what went over into breaking the law that bothered me. Now, I never ever discounted Becca's capabilities and in regards to social media platforms. She's been in it for a long time. I always knew she was a strong girl, but I also always knew that nobody was going to lead her down a garden path full of thorns and not tell her about it, and that she wouldn't be aware.
Well,
Okay, but we have. Wait a minute, Peachy. Wait a minute.
It did happen to her, though.
Wait a minute. Just wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
In regards to this other person who maybe not be able to make that assessment, I'm not saying she isn't. I'm saying the truth is not being told. And when the truth finally comes out and she sees and understands the mess of the betrayal that she has been living in, I do think that that is going to be an emotional upset for her.
Mm-hmm. I don't. I think that she's gonna. I think that we're just making a mountain out of a molehill, so to speak. I really do. Now I haven't subbed, so I haven't seen a lot of it, Nevaeh. I haven't. I just, to be honest with you, I haven't. I saw clips of it, maybe on Nassau Reports, maybe when she got upset and crying a few minutes or seconds. But so, maybe I'm not understanding the whole picture of it. I don't know.
Okay, so there's actually in this misconception of hers, she's actually in a bubble of people that are surrounding her, giving her love bombs, reassuring her everything's going to be okay, we've got your back kind of bullshit. Now, when she finds out that nobody had her back and everybody was stabbing her while her back was turned, and she had faith in what they were telling her as it being the truth, and finds out that it wasn't, and she finds, I'm going to tell you what, even me as a regular person, well, over 60, but I can actually recognize a lot of things that maybe a younger person can't. And when I was younger, I did allow my emotions to kind of overrule my better sense to a point. But when it got to that point, I would step out of that box and say, wait a minute, something's not right here. Well, okay. So now that I'm older, I don't even get into that box. And so I want to give her credit for having plenty of sense. But at the same time, seeing what I have seen, the girl is innocent. The girl is being misled. The girl is being lied to. She's being kept in a bubble of all of this misconception that's been going on all of this deceit that's been going on and guarded from the truth. It's a mass betrayal. And so, even with me, the way I am, I would find that mass betrayal disturbing even to me.
Let her stay in that bubble and enjoy it. I don't think that I think that she knows the truth. People have been bluntly honest with her, and maybe she does.
Sometimes you learn the hard way, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
but
I think that it's she's having fun, she's smiling, and people will say, I think generally if they have her back, maybe after all this rides out, I think that a lot of people over there generally really have her back, in my
We're,
opinion.
yeah, we're not naming names, Rada. We're not putting anybody's name into this. It's all hypothetical.
I know
I
most
think
This
the
of
is a
these
biggest
this
games.
is
fault.
a this is a script. This is a script. It's a hypothetical situation. There are names will be changed to protect the innocent. We're not using names.
All right. You know, sometimes when I came to this community, to be honest, I didn't know about. I came here like, how can I say, to, not knowing what I was getting into, you know, because I got here through High Desert Community, right, and Mexican Padilla. And when I came here, somehow I found the stream yards and all these things, you know, going on, and start seeing, you know, some fun topics here and there, and you know, little by little, I start getting real in there. You meet people, and somehow, you know, you believe these people are good, you know, but sometimes you don't even know what you're getting into self, you know. But it's really easy to get into that crap, and to get out, that's the thing. Because these people, like, I'll put an example. I give my phone number, and I would never think this person will give my information, none of that shit, you know. But when I saw they expose we the people the supposedly innocent in the wheelchair,
Yeah.
that scared me. That shit scared me. Like you don't even have no idea. You get me? That like I'm like wow, they're
You
even
talking
playing.
about? Are you talking about We the People Tyrant Wars?
No, the
No, no, no,
colonel.
the
She's talking
colonel.
about the
Oh, the
colonel.
Colonel. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
another.
no,
That's
no,
another
that's another topic. No,
conversation.
Betty,
I know, but
did it scare you that she was a con artist, or did it scare you that
a little
like
bit of
we were able
everything.
to be able
No,
to get her
actually,
information?
Teresa, I love what you did because that made my eye open so like you don't even have no idea. You know,
You were the only one on the panel that like even made a you were like, what? Have you
you know.
watched the
To be
video
honest, I
again?
did wanted to say
Because
something
you made a face. You were like, what the fuck is going? You didn't say anything,
because I'll
but
say
you were
this
like,
much
what the fuck?
on Jeff. On Jeff, I saw something, but I wasn't sure if it was exactly this person. But I was there were I guess they were for some dog or something like that. I remember something about that related topic about some bail they were gonna pay, and I wasn't sure if how because by then I just been in the community maybe 2 weeks or three at the most. I wasn't a lot in like known then. I've been here only since maybe I think late October or November last year.
Right, right. You were. It was real early on when I mean,
Hmm.
I
And if
hadn't
you
seen you very
see,
often.
I had my phone and I had my restaurant. I have one of my girls of my restaurant. She did like a cookout and she was doing like a YouTube video, saying how do they do the ingredients and all that stuff, a cooking. And I was hearing her at the same time. So I'm like, but I didn't know you can even hear it because I thought it was low on my end. See that's how stupid I was in not knowing how all of this worked. Later, it's like you reflect and you look back and you're like, damn, okay. So little by little, I start keeping up. But anyways, so I met this person. I see everybody loves this person, and he, everywhere I go, I see him, and he's always, not following me, but now I get it. Is every community, of course, everybody sub and everybody each other. But back then, I didn't know none of that. So I'm like, you feel, kind of like it's not. It's at the same time it's awesome, but at the same time now for me it's kind of scary when they do that. Um, so I give my number. He sent me first like one of his. I put out something on a comment on his video, and he put his email. I answer back, and ever since there I give my number. Big mistake. I didn't even know you cannot like put a different number or go Google phone number. None of that shit. You know, because I'm telling you, I'm like a virgin basically on this. Well, anyways, um, so I give him my number. Next thing you know, because I see this person going. A lot of the girls that I see on the chats, I met these girls, so I'm like, I kind of see why they saw this on this person, the negative, and little by little I start pulling myself out. And I told him he was always talking about this other girl, but supposedly he was into me, and I'm like, I feel like this person is obsessive because of this person did something to that, and I start being more like a friend, not more like a romantic style, you know. And I start hearing him, and every time was poor me, you know, she did this, she's fucked up, this, she's this, and I'm like, okay, wow. So I'm hearing him all this time talking all this stuff, and then suddenly, just because he'll call like 3, 5 o'clock in the morning. If you don't answer, he's like, "Did I do something? Did I?" And I feel like guilty. I'm like, "No, but dude, I don't want to answer your phone calls. You know, I want to enjoy my family. And 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not gonna answer to not to anybody. You know." Well, anyways, so he got a little by little, he started getting more obsessive. And I said it to a couple girls in the community. Nobody said anything. And I said, oh, well, now I know where I stand with, some of them. And I left it like that, And I see a lot of like people want them to stand up. No, you need to do it by yourself. You need to tell that person. Because this is exactly what they're going to do. Ridiculous everything about you, And that's not cool, putting your information. Just because you give them a number doesn't give their right to put your name out there. For what? Because you didn't hear him? That's fucking crazy, you know? Sorry.
Hey, Betty. I have a comment. Not to be
Hmm.
disrespectful, but you did think that not Shadow and Wild Runner really did get married.
Oh, no.
He
And
didn't.
now that's why he never came back. Well, I'm pretty sure he's around here, but I don't know what name for sure. No, I never believe that. No.
I'm just teasing. I'm just,
Nah.
it is such a journey for all of us. It's and I'm still writing, and I'm still trying to figure out my little niche in all of this.
Right,
It's such a roller coaster.
right.
I, I can't speak for everyone on the panel, but I think most of us were there at one time where we were believers in this,
Hmm.
believers in these people, but like I said, a lot of people don't get that. YouTube is a lot of, drama and fluff, and, it's not all real, so,
Hmm.
people can
You
get
found the
confused
hard
by
way.
that. That's right. That's right.
I don't invest myself emotionally in too much on this social media platform. There are a few people that I care about, and if they needed my help, I would do what I could to help them. But as far as my personal life goes, I separate it for the most part from YouTube. I do share my fish, but that's what I'm about, right? I'm about the fish. I'm not about telling you how my mom died, and I'm not about telling you how uh, a boyfriend of my daughter's hung himself in the closet. I'm not about that kind of stuff. But I'll share
Right.
my fish. So when you start, those are just examples, by the way, but when you start putting things out there about yourself, expect that somebody is going to bring it back to you as a poke. Because if I say my mom died and this is how she died, the troll's going to say, why weren't you there to help her, And so I just don't do that. I'm not going to do that. And the same would be true with any other member of my family or any other situation in my family. It's just not something that you do, because it's going to come back to bite you from someone that you don't even know, from someone that you don't even think you should even be caring about. But as soon as they poke you with that information twisted to suit their own narrative, they're going to upset you, because they're getting you in a personal place, right? So I try not to put that personal stuff out there in a public forum. There have been discussions I've had in private with people. Those people I trust would never bring it out here into the this platform where we're all talking and there's many people present. So in
That's
any
the
case,
thing, though.
yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't, there's things I won't put out there because I know how it would end up coming back. And what is that noise? Betty,
Oh, sorry.
what are you eating?
You want to see?
No, I already have my dinner.
Skittles.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Sorry.
So there's just certain things that I wouldn't do myself, as just from myself,
You
my own
know,
point of view.
when I got involved in this, I used my own personal YouTube channel. I didn't have any subscribers. I just started from there, and I never wanted anyone to be able to hold my identity or anything over my head. I've always tried to be an open book. I didn't come into this community necessarily, because I know that my medical information has been doxxed or what have you. But I didn't come into this community, open, being open about my medical condition. But outside of this community, I'm fairly open with my medical condition. So it wasn't something, that I ever tried to hide or ever thought would never come out. But you're right about that. People will pick out anything that they can find to, manipulate and try to hurt your feelings. But when that happens, you're doing something right. People trying to get rid of you for whatever reason, they grab for whatever they can get. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a personal decision because when I've talked about my cancer, it allows the trolls to come in and say negative things. Oh, you really don't have cancer, or are you not dead yet? you know,
Yeah.
things like that. But it's a connection though with people, and then people say, oh well, I've gone through that, or so and so's gone through that. So I kind of look at it as nothing ventured, nothing gained type of thing.
Well, okay, so there were conversations that I had where I told about some things that places that I'd been in my life and traveling in different countries and stuff. And that was actually used against me uh, by people that wanted to troll me, calling me a liar, which I don't have to show you my passport or prove anything to you. Whether you believe it or not is
Right.
definite. It's definitely on you. Um, do I feel the need to go out there and prove myself right? No, I don't. Um, do other people in the community think that you have a burden of proof on certain things? Yes, they do. But you should never have to, nor should you feel compelled to.
Right.
But you did film your house. It did. I think that maybe then you were upset about a lot of things, but now people saying maybe the same things. Would you be equally upset now?
Well, I didn't do it when I was upset, though. It was like what brought that on had happened probably a couple or 3 months before I actually did it. So I did wait after those things were initially said about me. I did wait. I didn't do it right away. So, I'm like, okay, well, this is where I live. This is my backyard. This is the building. It's a fourplex, 2-story, no big deal. But the whole thing was that somebody had actually taken a lie that they were told and ran elsewhere and told it over and over. And so I basically said, okay, well, this is it. This is where I live. You see, this is not uh, what people have been saying. So I was basically just proving the lie. I wasn't proving anything about myself. I was proving the lie. So I wasn't even upset when I did it. It was occurrence like 2 or 3 months prior to when I did that video.
I guess my question is, aren't you in a better place? Like if somebody were to say something about you and it got back and whatnot, aren't you? Don't you feel like you're in a better place now, Nevaeh, and in a place that you're not going to get as upset as maybe before?
Well, first of all, It wasn't something that got back to me. It was something I witnessed for myself. Did I think it was necessary for me to respond right away? No. So I wasn't that upset. Did I think that I wanted to respond at some point? Yeah. Only to reveal the lie.
No, I
Not,
know, but
not,
you didn't
yeah.
answer my question.
Would I do it now? If it happened now, would I do the same thing?
Well, not necessarily the same thing, but just would you be upset with somebody telling lies about you?
Well, lies to begin with are something that always upsets me, whether it's being told about me or about somebody else. Would I want to reveal the fact that somebody told a lie? I will always want to reveal that. Always. Regardless of who it's being told about.
Right.
Well, like I said, I never wanted anybody to, be able to hold that over my head, and sometimes it bites me in the ass, and most of the time it doesn't. For the most part, it hasn't really caused me. It's the same kind of trolling that everybody here on this panel has experienced at one time or another. I've faced it too, so we're all in it together. But like I said, I just didn't want anybody, because I'm involved in police accountability. I've been arrested for stuff like that. How hard is it to find out who I am? I know that, so I didn't go into this thinking that I'd be able to hide who I was, if you know what I mean.
Well, social media is a place that eventually something's going to come somewhere. It's going to come crawling out of the woodwork, and it probably from the most unexpected source. So, having said that, ladies, do you feel as if just because you're a woman that you might be more likely to be targeted in this manner than if you were a guy?
No, I don't.
Not really. It depends how you are. If you're the kind of person that lets everybody, step all over you, yeah, they're gonna, beat you up. But you gotta have also character.
And so would you consider having going through some of these situations that we've been talking about character building,
Mm-hmm.
making you stronger?
Oh yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm already strong.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not the person that let anybody walk all over me. I'm the kind of person that will fucking fight all the way. I'm not gonna let these people jump all over me. Hell no.
Yeah, hot
So
dog boy made me a stronger person because now next time I know what
No,
I'm going to do.
it's not gonna happen.
that was a trip. I have to admit. Now, had I been you, I would have throat punched him. That's just me.
I didn't want to go to jail. I tried to ignore that little fucker.
No, but if he gets a certain distance from you within what is considered private space, and you feel threatened, you have every right,
Mm-hmm.
according to the law.
Yeah, I think I chose to grab his camera off his head rather than throat punch him. Maybe that's hindsight's 2020. Maybe I would have I would have forgotten about his GoPro and did the throat punch.
Right.
Uh,
Maybe you could have done both. Used the camera to throat punch him with.
yeah. Yeah, so situations, answer your question, I felt like I was a strong person coming in to all this to begin with, but I think I'm an even stronger person now on different levels. It's made me a better. I can just say this, and I've said it time and time again. YouTube has made me a better person. Absolutely, it has made me a better person.
You are, regardless. You are. I love, how you go out there and you put yourself. I love that. I admire that.
I think maybe just any person that can kind of withstand especially women, that can kind of withstand the BS that goes on in this community. has got to be a pretty strong woman, you know, and you've got to come out with a few bruises and bumps and, and be stronger for it, you know.
Right on, Teresa.
I definitely got my bruises, but you know what? I found the best bandage.
Yeah, what kind of bandage?
Well, I'm not going to actually go into detail, but
Shit, send me some, girl.
but I mean, okay,
Yeah,
so
sure.
it's in the way that you respond to certain things. And one of my videos, where I'm sitting in front of my fish tank telling about it, actually says, you know, back off of me, leave me alone, or this is what I'm going to do. And if you don't, you know, stop doing that, I'm going to do this. And you make it very clear to whoever's trying to victimize you without even having to say their name. They know you're talking about them. But you just let them know that you're only going to let them go so far. And once they've crossed that threshold, you take the steps necessary to do what you feel like you've got to do to put a stop to it, to keep yourself safe. And so I did those things. And because my request wasn't heeded, but I wasn't the only one that did those things. Okay. So I'm not saying kudos on me. I'm saying I did those things that I said I would do because my request for being targeted did not stop. And so everybody has to make a decision based upon what they feel like they can, what they can actually take, to what they actually refuse to take, and then what they're going to do about it. And everybody has different tools. I just used the ones that were available to me that I thought were best suited for the task. I'll just leave it at that.
Can I acknowledge a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sassy Assassination 31 says that you can't. Let me find it.
The law doesn't allow it. What?
You can't. He said, or he said, you can't stab You can't stab unarmed people who haven't even touched you.
Just saying.
Just saying. Yeah. Well, if you fear for your safety, and you know, I don't know. I don't really want to get into it. If I, you know, the reason for that even being present was because I feared for my safety, and I'm smart enough. I'm smarter than the average bear to know when to pull out my gun or pull out a knife or pull out whatever to protect myself and to not go to jail. And I think that's what I did. I did enough to protect myself.
Right.
Well, you never know what a person has that they can hurt you with.
Exactly. I don't know what's in his pockets, just like he didn't know what was in my pockets. But I'm going to, you know, next time it's going to be, he did enough for me to spray mace in his face. Absolutely. Did he do enough for me to shoot him or stab him? No. Did he get close enough for me to for fear for my safety to mace him? Absolutely, in my opinion. In my opinion, really only counts in this matter because you guys might have been watching it, but I was the person that was there and going through that.
Exactly. And Sassy Assassin, I don't think she overreached at all. Reacted. I don't think she overreacted at all. I think she reacted appropriately. I mean, it's not like she had an army with her that was, you know, helping to protect her or helping to keep the person from her. She was on her own. And so she reacted appropriately in that situation.
Right.
I appreciate that. He, you know, with the amount of time that he stalked me and bullied me, I felt like that I did react appropriately. I didn't. I don't think I overstepped my boundaries.
No, not at all.
And you also have to take in the what was going on around at the time. I mean, it was confusing. It's disorienting, and somebody throwing hot dogs at you was a bit weird in the first place. But you know, you're in a situation that you don't know what is going to happen. It was an explosive situation. Anything could happen. I mean, luckily this guy was he was a weirdo. and he had the hot dogs. But
Well-
it could have just as easily been somebody with a grudge. It could have been a white supremacist suddenly come out of nowhere and start shooting. You don't know.
So
Well,
when we talk about, hang on, Peach, when we talk about the law concerning throwing things at people, if you throw something at someone and you don't hit them, but you are aiming, it's called assault. If you hit them, it's called battery.
he did hit me. He did throw things at me and hit me in the head. I think there's probably enough there to probably press charges on him or to get a restraining order possibly, because he did. I mean, what was the most dangerous thing for me, for him yelling out in the crowd that I was saying the N word, and he was trying to incite a riot against me. That was really the most dangerous thing. And and let me tell you, the next night going out, I had a game plan. If he was back, I already talked to many people that was already on my call list in case I got arrested. And let's see, he did this before my arrest. I get confused on my time frame, but I had a game plan in case. I was very concerned about my safety if he was back the next evening. I was very, very concerned. I was very stressed out about it.
So you had every right to throat punch him. Basically, he had already assaulted and battered you.
He did. He threw stuff at me.
Can you imagine if you just stay there just to see what else he's gonna do to you? Come on, man. People.
Well, it wasn't that so much. It was the fact that he was inciting other people to do things to him as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and people were getting upset at me and coming at me. And I just kept making my circles. I kept trying to get a place where I was going to be safe. They were throwing tear gas. It was like Morgie said, it was mayhem. And then for me to have to put up with that was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, he would have got jail mace in his face a lot quicker than what I pulled out in fear of my safety. He would have got it in the face a lot quicker. And next time I'll be prepared in that way, because I'm certainly not going. I think the consequences are less with the burden of proof with mace versus something, a gun or a knife or something like that.
Well, I think he was competent enough to think that you were afraid enough for him not to suffer any damage from you. Being that he's a big boy. He is a big boy, right? But it's just me in the situations that I have faced in my life, without going into detail. If somebody has already assaulted and battered me and they come within my personal space, I'm going to freaking throat punch them.
Yeah.
End of story.
Well, I didn't know what this person was all about. I thought really he was a special needs kind of an adult. I thought he really had some mental issues, and then just recently, maybe just like a week and a half ago, I was going through some of his videos. He actually went down to Florida to stalk somebody that he was going at it online. He drove. I don't know where he lives, but he went down to Florida with somebody else, and they knocked on this guy's door, and he opened the door himself. He's taken this video off YouTube, by the way. He opened the door and he filmed inside of the guy who was there to see his dad was sitting there naked. His dad probably weighed 500 or 600 pounds, and he was sitting in front of a TV or a computer, completely naked. Excuse me. And this guy, and he gets up, and the hot dog boy continues filming, and they ended up calling the police to get him out of there. This guy, he's bonkers. After watching his videos, I don't know what I've done differently if I knew what he was all about. But this guy's not in his right mind.
So there you go. You've got an interesting comparison that it's not just frauditors. It can also be people who think they're on the correct side of things doing exactly the same thing.
Absolutely.
So you've got, as you were saying before, you've got good and bad on both sides. Then it's, we've got probably just as many assholes in the watchdog groups in some ways. Like this guy is trying to make his way out.
He wanted to trigger me, Morgie. He wanted to trigger me. That's the whole stick, is to trigger people into video it. That's his whole take.
Yeah, which makes him
Booze-
no better than the frauditors.
Booze wants to know the channel name of this person.
Frank Castle. I think he has maybe 30,000 subs. I think he's down. He's put out a video that people are trying to take his channel down, blah blah blah, because his behavior is criminal. He is borderline. I mean, he harasses people on the beach. He harasses people at the park. This is what he does. He goes
Clicks
into
and views.
Yeah, clicks and views. He goes into a athletic club, and he, with his GoPro, and he harasses people in there. He makes gay comments and hits on men and gets people riled up. That's what this man's all
It's
about.
all about the context. Yeah.
So to be fair, in the situation concerning you, that was not a borderline situation. That was way over the top, and that was criminal what he did.
Yeah, and I think that he probably wouldn't have got to the point throwing things at me if I had not snatched his GoPro off his head and I threw it like a football. Hindsight, I probably would have put it in my pants. I probably would have either stepped on it or tucked it away. I don't know. Hindsight, I don't think about this every day, but it did impact me greatly with what happened with that incident. It really did. So Nevaeh, with what I did, was that criminal? With me snatching his GoPro off his head and throwing it, was that criminal?
You couldn't have done it unless he was in your personal space.
Well, he was.
Oh, there you go. No, it wasn't.
And the fact that he was 2 feet taller than you, so he would have had to have been bending down to try and intimidate you for you to be able to grab his GoPro.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting that, and the reason why I said I wish I would have kept it is because when I threw my arm back to throw it, he knew what I was going to do, so he backed up and he threw his arms up to try to block me throwing it. If hindsight, I could have done a whole lot of things, but it did really affect me greatly with all that. But talking about the triggering thing, that I have to be careful not to trigger the police or have them not trigger me. It's very important to stay in control of your emotions, and that was a excellent learning curve for me through those 10 days with all of that.
So Sassy Assassin seems to think that was assault. Sassy Assassin, do you know what a legal personal space encompasses? Think about that for a minute. Think about the fact that this guy's been aggressive towards her and that she is allowed to do whatever is necessary to get him out of her personal space by law. So you need to kind of do some research on that.
Yeah, at that point, I don't know how many times I told him to get away from me. I didn't name call him. I didn't do anything like that.
What is the reason he singled you out? Do you have any idea what caught his eye or why he singled you out?
I kind of thought maybe he was working with some of these ladies, Antifa ladies, that was singling me out as well. I thought, but then that didn't kind of make sense. No,
I think he saw you online.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so. Exactly.
And you were actually targeted.
Sorry, because in one of the videos, he actually calls you by name. He calls you by your screen name. He calls you Peachy Rider. So he's seen your videos. He knew who you were.
Well, Morgie, I made a mistake. I made a mistake of telling him right off when I met him, because I didn't think it was going to be a Fruit Loop. This crazy man that was going to stalk me for almost an hour. I made the mistake of telling him who I was, but I think Nevaeh is right. I think he already knew who I was. I think he'd already seen me there filming in Atlanta, and I think that he targeted me through seeing me.
Well,
Absolutely.
he was probably trying to confirm your identity. That's probably what he was doing when he made you say
Okay,
who you were.
Sassy Assassin. Yes, you can if they have been threatening towards you before they got inside your personal space. Right? See, Sassy is trying to make the argument that you can't do anything to defend yourself after you already felt threatened and asked the person to stay away from you, and then they enter your personal space in a threatening manner. So, Sassy Assassin, go do your research, please.
Well,
It's called
Sassy, what would you do if he did that to your girl, or your daughter?
Sassy needs to be up here.
Yeah, Sassy, come on up.
No, Sassy doesn't need to be up here. Sassy is a guy. Sassy is a
Yeah.
guy.
He is a guy. Yeah.
Well, never mind. I'm telling you, I'm learning a lot.
So
Right by
I'm not
the-
reading the chat, but I appreciate you addressing his comments, Nevaeh. So Sassy, my question is, what would you do if a man was doing that to your daughter or your girl, your woman, your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend? I don't know.
The threat was credible. He made sure she felt it was credible. And by her own perception and because of his behavior, which is caught on video, she had
Well,
every right.
the actual term is reasonable. It has to be reasonable. Under circumstances, what would a reasonable person do?
And to be perfectly honest, if you're being assaulted in the middle of a riot, I would say that's fairly reasonable.
Well, and if you go back and look at the video, which which I have finally have, not even 2 weeks ago, my anxiety is so great over all that, it's hard for me to go back and watch. And I know those of you that film know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you I just looked and I forgot about a lot of the things that I did, but I was just looking at how I was trying to get away from him. I would walk over here and I walk over there and I, walk over here and then he'd pop up again and I walk over there. So I went to the extremes to try to de-escalate the situation. I did not call him names. I didn't, I tried to be, I tried to just stay, not to be triggered. I try not to be triggered by him. It was a very stressful situation, and none of you, no one, you don't know what you would do unless you were in that situation. You just don't. And I know PDF kind of laughed at me by, I got pushed from a crowd with an Antifa girl. I thought she was Antifa. Oh, why did, you're a cupcake, blah, blah, blah. Well, then he got that situation down in Florida, Mayo, Florida, when they were doing some things to him. And he certainly didn't fight back. And he didn't know, and I had a conversation with him. And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Peachy, you're right. You just don't know what you would do unless you're in that situation."
What he did was actually premeditated because Peachy kept walking away from him. He kept following her. He's also twice her size, both tall and wide, and he was inciting for other people to cause harm to her.
And I'm sorry, Morgie, and in a threatening manner. We can't leave that out.
Yeah, and in a threatening manner in the middle of a riot. So, he was looking basically for somebody to hurt us, and again for clicks and views, because that's what the whole thing was for.
That's right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Go. You go.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I certainly didn't know until, and everyone was so good. I mean, it wasn't long until, and I'm not going to say his real name, but that people had his real name, and people were fighting because he's got his own little army, and they still troll me. I still go into my YouTube studio. Not well, it was daily, but now it's maybe every other day, and I make sure that there's not a negative comment from him or from his little weirdo army leaving me nasty comments. And I just immediately block that person and take that comment away. But I almost get it daily. So still, I am still getting harassed by this person that I can't do anything about. Either this person or his followers. And that's the first time I've said that, but I'm still getting harassed by him.
Yeah, it's childish. It's childish, Peachy, and you don't. I know it's hard, it's easy to say, but you just don't let them get to you. That's the whole thing. But this is now this is what's happened to you with one person. Imagine how these cops feel when they get bombarded by hundreds of these idiots that follow certain channels, shall we say, when a certain person goes out and goes, please do not call. And this goes on for hours and hours and days and weeks. And then somebody else will mirror that video in 6 months' time, and the whole thing starts again. Even though it was 6 months ago the incident took place, the whole thing starts again. And the Facebooks, is vandalized. The Google's vandalized. These guys have ruined businesses and they've ruined lives. And a lot of the time, these idiots end up ruining somebody else's lives because half of them can't read a bloody phone book and call the wrong person. It's just amazing. And this is what, and it shows you with social media how easy it can be done, how easy you can destroy somebody if you really want to.
Pretty soon we're not going to have rights, because of all this.
Well,
that's it. And that's the point. That's how you're getting the laws changed, but all for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why it's really important when you're on a social media platform, no matter what the situation is, whether it's some sort of love interest or whether it's standing up for your rights, whatever the situation is, you have to always be very protective of yourself and your information. And it is no matter who you are, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, it doesn't matter. Because people can get at you regardless.
I want to address this comment from Sassy. It says Abrams triggered a woman into being arrested the same way the other night. You can't fall for that one. And I would just, challenge Sassy to go back and look at the cases that, Josh or Furry Potato or whomever have had personal, whatever, where they do the citizen's arrest or whatever the heck it is, where they get these people arrested after they touch them or spray paint them or whatever. I challenge you to go back and see how many of those people were actually ever prosecuted.
I think there seems to be a lot of confusion in the audience, in some of the audience, about what laws are out there to actually protect us and how and what rights they give us to protect ourselves. I'm not going to leave that out.
And it comes down to actually knowing the law and what you can and cannot do and how it is applied. This is something I keep harping on about. Know the law and know how it is applied. Know exactly how it applies to you and what situation it is. As I said, you have Google. You can do the basics, and then call a lawyer who will give you a free consultation on something. Get it explained to you. It isn't hard to do.
Yeah, Crusher is Odin, so Odin, you can fuck off. So how many times do we go around and around about the same subjects of everyone, of same subject, but maybe different, same topic, but with God Almighty, I can't let him trigger me. So
Crusher is Peanut Butter Mouth. Is that who that is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's Peanut Butter Mouth. So he's still butthurt over something. So anyway, yeah. He's butthurt.
Well, when it comes to Odin, you can laugh at everything.
He needs some butthurt cream.
He can take it as much as he can dish it out. Everything's good. So is there any other topics you ladies would like to bring up, discuss, talk about, heighten interest in?
I probably have a dozen more topics, but it's getting late here, and I need to get off of the
Well, give
internet.
us before you leave. Give us one. If we're going to continue this, we'll run with it.
Well, I was thinking about talking about the Beirut bombing. I don't know if anybody's been following that big
Yeah.
bomb that went off in Beirut.
So
It
sad.
was
That's
it was like a
topic.
yeah, I did actually. I
Yes,
did. Of
so
course
did
I
I.
did. Yeah. It was like a miniature nuclear explosion.
Well, you saw that pressure wave come out before
Oh
the actual
yeah.
explosion. That was unbelievable.
That was
So
amazing.
crazy.
yeah, so the background on the fertilizer, it had been stored in that warehouse since it disappeared off the ship that brought it in. It had been stored in that warehouse for what, 18 months or so, and the officials kept saying it's not safe to keep that here, it's not safe to keep that here, and they never did anything with it. They just left it, and they kind of set themselves up for that to happen. Now, nobody could have known that there was going to be a fire that was going to spur that off. Initially, there were some people that thought that it was a terrorist attack, which it wasn't. It was proved that it wasn't. But still, you think of the damage that it did when you look. I don't know if anybody's seen the pictures. I know, Morgan, you probably have. Anybody who's been following the story that has seen the pictures and the damage that that explosion costs, and the pictures of the explosion itself, and the damage that the wave that came from that explosion did, it's phenomenal. And the number of people that were injured and some killed, yeah, it was pretty devastating.
Well, the last number I heard was 11. Not 11. My God, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not feeling well tonight. 100 people killed, and how many people injured? Thousands.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. 1,000.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the blast has been was so big that it's actually altered the coastline. That's how big it was, and I
Wow.
believe there's damage 4 miles into the actual city itself. People 4 miles away were getting windows blown in, and if you actually have a look, you'll see cars have actually been thrown up onto balconies of apartment buildings, 4 and 5 and 6 stories high.
Yeah, it was pretty devastating. But just to see the explosion itself, because somebody did catch it on film, and the wave that came off of that explosion, it just reminds you of like a mini nuclear explosion, because that's what it looked like. It was like you could see you could actually see the energy on the video.
Yeah, the pressure, you saw the pressure wave hit before the white plume you see is actually the pressure wave that comes out of it first. That's just what's coming. That's just what's being pushed out before you actually get the rest of the explosion behind it.
Yeah, I heard it was like 6 or 7 seconds per mile that it so if you live, so I've seen videos of apartments that live about a mile from that explosion, and the shock waves hit them it was about 6 or 7 seconds later. And they were matter of fact, they were videoing. I don't know if anybody saw this. They were videoing the all the smoke, right? It was all the smoke first, and then the explosion, and then 6 or 7 seconds later it hit them. It was crazy.
So was there an actual fire, or was the ammonium nitrate actually degrading and caused it itself? Do we know that yet?
They said it was an actual fire that set it off.
Okay.
And so the fact that the the materials that were being stored there were highly flammable. We all know this because those same materials have been used in the '93 bombing of the World Trade Center.
And of course, Oklahoma.
Yeah, and Oklahoma.
Peanut Butter Mouth said because of the heat and the pressure.
Oh yeah, I know what it was, but I'm just wondering. I mean, if hasn't it been stored for quite a few years?
Well, it was about 18 months, from my understanding, somewhere around there. And the reason the people were filming to begin with is because the smoke from the fire. The fire spurred off the explosion, but the smoke from the fire was what actually caught people's attention, where they started filming it, and they were able to catch the explosion on
Yeah,
film.
that's right. Bye. Good night, Aussie Angel.
No, it's been it's been in storage since 2013.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, so it's probably degraded, and the fire actually started from the actual material itself. So it's degraded and combusted, and especially because it's in bloody Lebanon as well. That's stinking bloody hot in the middle of summer. So I think we'll probably find that it self-combusted.
Hello, A Balance. Thank you for your input. Appreciate that.
Sorry, I'm just having a quick look at some updates. That's all.
Wow,
Yeah,
he
no
said
worries.
3,200 tons of it stored.
There's lots
For
of
6 years.
conspiracy theories floating around about it now.
Oh, as soon as you get something like that, you get conspiracy theories.
It
But
was
yeah,
a pretty big explosion in the middle of Lebanon. So
yeah, I mean, of course, the first thing when you see something like that, and because you could see the small explosions inside it as well, you think that there's ammunition going off, or you think there's some kind of explosive going off inside it, and being, of course, where it is. First thing you think is terrorist attack of some kind. That's for sure. But I believe they also went to the courts about 6 or 7 times to try and get a ruling on it as well, and they've never managed to get that either. So, but it was spectacular. I'll give you that one. It's spectacular.
It definitely was, but not for the people living there.
did you guys see the video of the car driving over the bridge that gets the rear view mirror and all the windows blown out, but the rear view mirror just gets blown off the window?
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, and it's not funny. I know I'm kind of chuckling about it, but ooh, I mean, the guy was alive. Thank goodness. Probably cut up with some glass, but
I'm sure there's a lot of footage out there
Right.
that people haven't seen yet, but
A lot of imagine all the windows with the pressure.
There'll be a lot of doctored videos too. My bet is.
yeah, by now I'm sure there is.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see about that one. I believe Macron was there at the time, so and they weren't very happy about him being there for some reason. I'm not sure why. But yeah, I don't understand why they're mad at Macron. I don't know how it's Macron's fault, but anyway, I guess they need somebody to blame.
Is that actually true? A Balance? Why it was taken and stored there? Was that the actual purpose? I mean, do we know that for a fact? I guess is what I'm asking.
or maybe he's saying that they confiscated it so that it couldn't be used to be made, to be turned into meth. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I could agree with that. And when I was in New Zealand, you know how you can go to the pharmacy section of Walgreens and pick up a bottle of alcohol? You cannot do that in New Zealand. They have to mix it for you. They won't let you just buy a bottle of alcohol because it's used in P labs. P labs being meth. So I couldn't get a bottle of alcohol the whole time I lived there.
What is a P? What kind of lab is that? What did you say?
A P lab, it's meth.
Oh.
They call it P Lab in New Zealand. That's what they call it. But yeah, so the 5 years I was there, I couldn't get a bottle of alcohol, no rubbing alcohol available anywhere. And I'm like, why can't I get alcohol? So they actually explained it to me. Well, this is why. And I was like, that's just really strange to me. Have to have the pharmacist actually mix you a 70. And I don't even know what they do because I never asked them what was the percentage. It might have been 60 something. That you were only allowed to have. But I'm used to using 91% alcohol, and they definitely weren't going to let me have that.
Probably because of drinking problems.
Do they sell hard liquor there?
Well,
oh,
yeah. Everybody in New Zealand drinks.
They're one of the biggest wine producers in the world.
They sure are.
I mean, you
And
can just buy
everybody
grain
drinks it.
alcohol. Like you can buy
Oh,
a 190 proof. Or
Oh, they make
something
their
like that.
own.
Same thing.
No, they can actually legally have stills in their garage. So it's not like they can't make their own, right? They can. It's an expensive process, but my next door neighbor had a still in his garage. A lot of people have their own stills over there. As long as you don't sell it for profit, it's only for personal use. But so yeah,
I never realized how many places in Alaska outlawed alcohol.
Ooh, yummy.
well, it's because of the reaction to the alcohol of some of the indigenous people.
What is the reaction?
They get quite violent.
I mean, they are very strict. There's many people that try to confiscate, or not confiscate, that's the opposite word, that try to smuggle in alcohol to the smaller villages. And the police, they just, it's almost just as bad as drugs. Man, they take them to jail. It's a serious offense.
Hey, let me just jump in real quick to say goodnight to everybody. I'm going to jump off now. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, and I want to say goodbye to everybody that's in the chat. Booze Now, A Balance, Pink, Crusher, who people think is Odin, I don't know, Swammy, Sock Monkey, and all the ladies on the panel. Thank you guys all for joining me tonight. I don't know if you guys want to keep going, or it's up to, I guess, Sancho.
So thank you,
Is that cool,
Teresa.
Sancho? Yeah, I'll see you guys. Yeah, I'm sure he's fine with that. So I'll see you guys soon. Good night, everybody.
We appreciate you.
Good night, Teresa.
Awkward silence, she said. Pink camera magic. That's cute. So, anything else anybody want to have a chit chat about? We've talked about, or Morgan, did you have more to say about the Beirut bombing at all?
No, don't know.
Or not? I
It.
wouldn't say bombing. Explosion.
I don't know enough about it at this point in time. And like everybody else, it's like, let's have a look and see what actually happened, because it's a bit difficult to sort out. It was just that pressure wave that you saw that blew my mind. That was just massively incredible. And I guess we'll have to wait and see what the aftermath is, because it's a bit hard to get on the ground there at the moment. So, I heard that they had started detaining port workers for some reason. I don't know why, but I just heard that they were doing that as well. But whether that's true or not, I don't know. I haven't got enough information. It's very hard to get information out of the Lebanese. So if I find out, I'll let you know.
I hear you. Well, I'll be watching. I mean, you don't necessarily, everything you get from the news is pretty filtered. Crusher, everything you're saying is the things that Odin would say. Just saying.
Yeah, that's peanut butter. I would bet this farm that is peanut butter mouth. Absolutely, absolutely. He's been trolling me, and the things that the peanut butter mouth has said to me on my channels. I just don't see how when look. I quit watching people. I've smartened up with people that I don't like, and I don't make the negative comments, and I don't do the trolling or the things that I might say being upset with people's actions. I've gotten smarter and I just don't watch. So that would be my final say tonight with some people. If you're triggered by certain individuals and their actions, and and Crusher was, and Peanut Butter Mouth was the one that was said, oh, why do you consider yourself a hero and blah blah blah. Well, I've had a quote on all my videos for about a year now that says, and I love this quote: she needed a hero, so that's what she became. And it seems like Peanut Butter Mouth is too ignorant to follow that quote. And it means that I'm trying to be my own hero in this life, that to myself, that no one can rescue me, no one can give me happiness, no one's going to be my knight in shining armor, blah blah blah. I try to be my own hero each and every day. So
And
I love that quote.
and so with that, we're speaking about an element of humanity. I would encourage everybody out there, if you see somebody that is weaker than you being taken advantage of, no matter where you are, whether it's in YouTube or on other social media or in real life, that you at least step up and say to the person who is treating them wrong that that's what they're doing. Call them out and be their hero, right? We all have chances in life to be a hero of some sort or another, whether it is a hero for ourselves or a hero for others. And we're given many opportunities in life to be a hero for others, because there are a lot of people out there who can't be a hero for themselves.
You don't have,
That's true.
sorry, you don't have to be a hero. You just have to do the right thing and the moral thing. If you think it's wrong, then say something. If you get flack, be prepared to take it. But remember that the people who take flack are the people who are the gutless cowards. They're the ones that won't think for themselves. They prefer others to do it for them. It's easier to follow because it's harder to lead. So, do the moral thing, do the right thing. Do what you would have, like, somebody to help a member of your family if you see something like that, because that's what it comes down to. And if we're not going to help each other, we're fucked.
Oh, absolutely. So just going to let everybody that's here know, I have stepped way, way far back from the First Amendment, quote unquote, term I don't like to use, community, simply because I get tired of people I see on a regular basis. And the reason I'm stepping back is because I see people stabbing each other in the back, throwing each other under the bus, setting somebody up for disaster in that particular group. And I am sick of it. So I have stepped far, far away from it. I might read about it, I might watch it, but I'm not going in and spending any amount of time like I used to being part of it. And I'm not going to. I've stepped away from it. It's toxic to me. And I've seen it toxic to others that haven't made the decision to step away from it yet. And the more you feed into it, the longer it goes on. And I'm not going to be one of those people that feeds into it. So just so everybody knows, if you don't see me around in streams, if you don't see me making comments on videos, it's because I have more important things to do in my life that I'm interested in. Those are the kinds of things that I would like to share with people. I'm a fish keeper. I'm not a First Amendment anything. However, having said all that, I stand up for my own rights. Nobody does that for me. I exercise my rights every single day without being impeded. Therefore, I have freedom.
Amen, sister. And Crusher, you are Odin, so give it up. Give it up. It's a weak troll, buddy.
It's it.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. As my mom told me, she has told me that all my life.
It's interesting though, isn't it? How the people who are realizing how toxic this community is are the women who are realizing it first, and because the blokes just need to follow somebody to make themselves feel like they're men. It's women don't need that, and I find it kind of interesting that you two as well as Teresa are realizing how toxic the environment actually is, and that it really isn't. It does, what they're doing doesn't serve a purpose, to be honest, and it's an interesting note, but whether the blokes actually pick up on that's going to be a different story.
Well, the people that are in it for the wrong reasons will continue to be in it for the wrong reasons. The people that are in it for the right reasons will find it is a struggle for them, because it's very hard to swim against the tide. And I'm not going to sit here and act ignorant and say that there's things that go on that are unacceptable, because there are many. But the persons that are calling out other people for saying, for instance, claiming that they're doing unacceptable behavior, are themselves guilty of the same unacceptable behavior. So who's right and who's wrong? If you want to point out somebody doing something wrong, no matter who they are, whether they wear a uniform or not, then by all means do something to expose them. But don't be them while you're doing it. Don't
Excellent
be
point.
them.
Excellent point, Nevada.
Be better than they are. Don't go down to their level.
Exactly. So I'm going to actually take myself out of this now. And I'll leave you with this thought. And this is what I try to tell everybody when I'm departing, is to be safe. You and your family, keep them safe. Keep yourself safe. Be well, be blessed, and be kind to others every chance you get, because that may be the only kindness that they ever have. So give it to them. With that, good night, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, ladies. You can carry on, but I need to withdraw.
Yeah, I'm going to say good night as well.
And just remember, a smile doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, kindness doesn't cost anybody anything at all, but it may bring a wealth to the person you're being kind to.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go with. Thank you.
Good night, guys.
No, Peachy. Take care.